championships. And for all of us, we would like to wish a very special Happy Mother's Day to all of the moms far and wide. Athletes and coaches, let's give one big round of applause to each and every one of our moms, both with us and at home. Friends, we live in a great country with freedoms like no other. At this time, we invite you to please stand if you are able and remove your caps as we honor the United States of America with the playing of the national anthem. Thank you. At this time, I invite you to stay standing or rise if you are able and turn your attention to the bulkhead as we introduce our athletes from today's men's 10-meter synchro and women's 3-meter synchro. These athletes are in reverse order from this morning's preliminary round. Diving first, the pair of Jackson Moniz and Ryden Russell. Diving second, the pair of Grant Cates and Evan Stingley. Your third pairing, the pair of Maxwell Weinrich and Dash Glassberg. And your leaders after the preliminary round, it's the team of Carson Tyler and Joshua Hedberg.
Same first two rounds.
And now introducing the women in the synchronized 3-meter final. Your first pair, it's Bianca Hutter and Eve Nelson. Your second matchup is Kayla Jensen and Gianna Lawrence. Your third pair is Lainey Gutch and Ellie Joyce. Next up is the duo of Taylor Fox and Haley Hernandez. Next we have Kendall Knight and Krista Palmer. Up next, Lily Whitty and Bailey Sturgill. And your leaders after the preliminary round, Anna Kwong and Sophie Rizal. I now invite you to turn your attention to the scoreboard for a special message from the City of Auburn's Mayor, Mr. Ron Anders Jr.
this Auburn Mayor Ron Anders, and welcome to our community. We are proud to host the USA Spring Nationals Diving Championship right here in Auburn. We're honored to have all these outstanding athletes and their coaches, staff, and families in our community this week. We're impressed and inspired by all the hard work it has taken for you to get to this point. Enjoy yourself in our community, work hard, compete to win. War Eagle.
Good afternoon, diving fans. We are live in Auburn for day 3 of the USA Diving Senior National Championships. I'm Owen Weymouth, National Event Coordinator at USA Diving. Joining me in the commentary booth, Kerry Karkuska, former Purdue diver and Auburn resident for the past 18 years or so. Kerry, first USA Diving National Championship in this facility.
So fun. So excited to host it. Such an honor. And I'm so excited to be a part of it. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms watching.
If you haven't seen the USA Diving Instagram page, we had a lot of our divers the last few days wishing their moms a very special day.
Good. They need to be.
Today, we're still on the Synchro finals. And we flip-flopped. The men on the 10-meter tower, women on 3-meter springboard.
Great prelims. Excited to see what they're going to do in finals today.
Just a few moments away from our first dive. You can see the first pair going through their drills on the tower.
Such a nervous spot to be in, opening up the finals. First diver waiting for your turn.
All these pairs competed in a preliminary session this morning, and they are competing in reverse order according to their rank from that preliminary. 4 pairs in the men's 10-meter platform synchro, 6 dives each.
All of their scores from the preliminary are going to carry over. So they're going to start with their preliminary score and add their dives in this final to figure out who our gold medalists are.
And if you're not so familiar with diving, the first 2 rounds are known as the voluntary rounds, more simple dives where the degree of difficulty is limited to 2.0. So we're going to see very simple dives where the judges are really scrutinizing those fine details.
And on the men's side, these initial dives, they're going head to head. They're all opening with an inward dive, and then they're all going to a back dive. So the judges are going to be watching dive for dive. They're going to really have to do their best because there's no distraction.
First pair in the competition, Jackson Monas and Ryden Russell. representing aces diving. This is an inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Inward, turning around backwards, rotating forwards towards the platform.
Nice start for this pair. Ryden had a real clean entry, just a little bit more splash from Jackson. Good opening dive of the competition for them.
And they are the youngest pair in the event today. Just 15 and 16 years old respectively.
Wow. So exciting for them to be on the senior national diving scene.
"11 judges in synchronized competition. Each individual diver gets 3 execution scores, which makes a total of 6. And there's 5 synchronization judges.
And each judge each dive will be judged individually, as well as whether or not the synchronization was there.
Next up, from Ripfest, Grant Cates, Evan Stingley. Another inward 1.5 somersault pike.
Great synchronization. Grant had a fantastic entry. Evan also clean on the bottom.
Yep. Putting that one in, slightly better than the pair before. Just looked a little bit more confident from the start on that takeoff.
Absolutely, little higher, little cleaner.
Staying with the inward category, inward dive piked, Maxwell Weinrich dash Glassberg, opting to do just a single half rotation dive.
Lots of control required. Great takeoff, beautiful synchronization, and really nice entries from both of these divers.
And Carey, we spoke about this yesterday. That 45-point mark is where you really want to be aiming if you're going towards world-class level diving in synchronized.
Absolutely. We haven't seen the 50 yet.
In the Olympic Games, medalists are getting more than 50 points in the voluntary rounds for the most part.
Yes, without a doubt.
Let's see what Carson Tyler and Josh Hedberg can do with their inward dive. They opened up a pretty hefty lead in the preliminaries. More than 60 points.
And that is why they are 60 points ahead of everyone. Beautiful start for both of them.
51.6. Some 9s in there.
There's the world-class score.
Speaking of world class, they actually just won a silver medal at the Aqua World Cup in Windsor just a few weeks ago. So they are hot right now.
It's got some world-class diving going on in Auburn, which is so fun.
They stay in the lead after round 1. Turning our attention now to the springboard, we have the women. 7 pairs in this event, starting with Bianca Hutter and Eve Nelson, a back dive piked.
Nice start, great distance from the board, and a good entry from both of these divers.
.36.6 from them. Next up, combination teaming up from Woodlands Diving and Night Diving. This is Kayla Jensen, Gianna Lawrence. Same dive, back dive piked. The women also performing 2 rounds of voluntaries here.
Beautiful start, good dive for both of them. Kayla, really nice entry.
And you can see jumping just a little bit higher, that core control and tight end, scoring a few more points than Bianca and Eve. 40.8 for Kayla and Gianna. And Kerry, when you were diving, voluntaries were part of an individual senior list.
Voluntaries were required, and we often called them requireds. Everybody competed them.
As of 2004, we only see voluntaries in the synchronized events. Individual events, no degree of difficulty limit.
Nice dive, both just a little bit past vertical with nice knee saves on the bottom to save that entry.
And these simple dives, they are harder than they look, especially in pressure situations.
Absolutely. You're here competing your opening round, the nerves are high, the adrenaline is high, and you really have to control these dives. Very little room for error.
We have quite the final hotting up in this women's 3-meter synchro. Anna Kwong, Sophie Vizile, 15 points ahead, but that group 2, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, right there on their heels.
Pretty dive from both Taylor and Haley.
Taylor and Haley qualified to this final in 4th place. I'm sure in their minds they're going to want to push for the podium.
Absolutely, and it's anybody's game in this final.
Now here's a pair that only trained together in synchro for the first time just a few days ago. Krista Palmer, Kendall Knight.
Beautiful inward dive from both of them. Maybe a little bit off on the takeoff together, just timing.
Judges liked it.
They liked it.
Lots of 8s and 8.5s in there. Got to be happy with a 48.6.
Absolutely.
Puts them in the lead temporarily. 2 more pairs to dive in this round. Lily Witt, Bailey Sturgill. Front 1.5 somersaults pike.
Another good opening dive for that pair.
I feel like there's so much just holding your nerve in the voluntary rounds.
Absolutely.
In training, you do these dives and they're almost mindless, but to do them under pressure in a final,
Correct.
different story.
And the judges are really having to be nitpicky here. They're looking for the tiniest differences between the divers to judge.
And scoring those top marks of 9s and 10s in the springboard is considerably harder than on the platform. Top qualifiers here: Anna Kwong, Sophie Rizal, inward dive pike.
Good synchronization, nice entries from both ladies.
And when you come into an event, you already have the lead. What's the game plan?
Hang on to it with everything you can.
Start as if you're all on even playing fields.
That's right. All of these divers have to execute one round at a time.
And it's interesting, some divers love looking at the scoreboard.
Yes.
As the event goes, they try and work out what they've got to do. And some divers shut the outside world off. They don't want to see that scoreboard. They just take it dive by dive. Back to the platform. Jackson and Ryden, back dive pike.
All 4 pairs are going to be doing this back dive pike on this second round. Individually, both great dives. A little bit off on the synchronization, but beautiful entries from both divers.
Yeah, much better from Jackson and Ryden. Both of them ripped their entries.
That's right.
I think if you look at the replay, their coaches might encourage some deeper pike shapes in the future.
Perhaps.
A little bit of form errors in there, which is why not seeing the 7s and 8s.
But at 15 and 16 years old, there's plenty of time to fix some of those details.
Grant Kate, Evan Stingley. This is actually Grant's 3rd competition in 3 days.
Really pretty back dive pike from both of them. Grant had a fantastic entry.
Yes, he competed in mixed synchro with his female teammates on 3 meter and 10 meter on the first day. Hadley Mulberry and Madeline Cole.
It's a lot of diving.
And when you come to these meets as an all-rounder, doing synchronized diving, springboard and platform, you have to have stamina.
Lots of stamina. The number of impacts that these divers are taking off of the platform, they're hitting the water around 35 miles an hour. It takes a tremendous toll on the body.
Max and Dash. Back dive pike.
Beautiful back dive pike. Dash maybe just a pinch further away from the platform than Max was. But 47.4, they should be real happy.
Both diving at Indiana University with Drew Johansson. Produced a lot of Olympic divers over the years for Team USA.
Absolutely.
Final pair, Carson Tyler, Josh Hedberg, came out of the blocks with a 51 pointer in round 1.
Wow. Really beautiful dive from Carson. A little bit of more splash on the entry from Joshua. but not much.
49.8 over that round. More than 100 points in their first 2 dives, showing that they are truly world class.
World class.
And stay tuned, because those platform dives are about to get difficult.
We've got one more round of these voluntary dives from our women's competition.
Bianca and Eve training with Team Texas Diving.
Pretty inward dive from both of them. Nice clean entries. A little bit of difference in distance from the board.
Kayla Jensen, Gianna Lawrence, reverse dive pike.
This is our youngest pair in the women's competition.
Kayla, junior national champion in all 3 individual events over the last few years, 1 meter, 3 meter and platform.
A little bit of missed timing on the hurdles together, but good reverse dives individually.
And synchronization, especially on the hurdle step phase, is definitely the hardest part of this competition.
So challenging. And then you factor in nerves.
When you stand on the platform together, it's very quick. A hurdle step, there's so many little details to think about. Lainey Gutch, Ella Joyce, reverse dive pike.
Beautiful reverse dives. Ellie had a little bit of trouble on her hurdle and did a great job bringing that dive into the water.
Nicely representing the University of North Carolina there.
That's right. They had a great collegiate season.
Our first twisting dive of the competition, Haley Hernandez, Taylor Fox.
Really nice front 1.5 with 1 twist. Clean entries. It is harder on 3 meter to get that really strong rip.
.43.2 rounds off their voluntaries. Kindle Knight, Krista Palmer. Krista, a veteran of the sport, Olympic bronze medalist.
We've got 2 Olympians on the women's side competing today.
Yep, Haley, who just dived. We saw her in Paris last year.
Individually, they're both very good dives. Having a little bit of trouble syncing up that hurdle, but they're a brand new synchro team.
And it's been fun watching them put this list together over the last couple of days.
Just tough to time the springboard together when you're not together all the time.
Lily Witt, Bailey Sturgill, inward dive pike.
Beautiful synchronization and really nice inward dives. Clean entries. I was going to guess we're going to be right around 45.
Bang on the money. And look at those scores. The top 3 right now. Just 6 points between those top 3 pairs. Of course, Anna Kwong, Sophie Rizal, still to finish off this round. Let's see if they can hold on to their lead going into optionals.
Fantastic height off the board. Synchronization was good. Both divers were just a touch long, a little bit past vertical on their entries. But the height off the springboard, beautiful.
A little bit of a miss by their standards. They just got back from China, representing Team USA, finishing 7th as a pair in the super final. Some fantastic international experience for them over the last few weeks on the World Cup series.
And tough to turn around and come back and compete again.
All eyes on the 10 meter. The dives are going to get hard now.
Both dives, the synchronization was good. Both dives were vertical. A little bit more splash on the bottom than they would have liked to have seen. But a very solid opening round of optionals for Jackson and Ryden.
I think at their age in this event, it's a great dive.
It's a great dive. It's a tough dive, 3.0.
And I'm sure those rips that we saw in their voluntaries, they'll be adding to the optionals soon. Grant Kate, Evan Stingley. Same dive, forward 3.5 somersault pike.
3 of the pairs are competing the same dive here in this 3rd round. Nice dive, good synchronization. Both left it just a little bit short of vertical.
It's pretty common in a platform event to start off your difficult dives with forward. I think it's a nice way to ease into the event.
Yeah, save some of those blind entries for a little bit later. We've got one more front 3.5 pike here. You could see coming off the platform that they were going to crush it. That was a fantastic dive, especially from Max.
Wow,
9.
72 pointer.
Wow.
They're going to be very happy with that one. Those forward takeoff dives on platform, you see a lot of running takeoffs. Front is one of those groups where you can gain a lot from that extra momentum, converting that forward speed into vertical power. Carson Tyler, Josh Hedberg, inward 3.5 tuck.
All 4 teams have opted to have forward-facing entries in this first optional round. Wow. They opened big this morning and they came to play this afternoon. Beautiful dive from both divers.
Proving why they are capable and already earning medals on the world stage.
That may be the first 80 we've seen in this competition.
Definitely today. Tyler Wills and Bailey Crampford.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Same dive on the first day as a mixed synchro pair.
That's right. We did see it there. We love seeing 80s.
Bailey Crampford taking 2 national titles already, before the individual events have even started. This is Eve and Bianca.
Opening their optional rounds.
Reverse twister.
These twisters are tough dives. They're moving forward, throwing their bodies backwards, twisting, keeping legs together. A little bit of twist on the bottom.
I've got to say, their takeoffs are great.
Absolutely.
Their timing, they're a great synchro pair. And I'm
Good.
sure as time goes on, they're going to just keep improving.
No doubt.
Kayla and Gianna, inward 2.5 tuck.
Pretty starts from both of them. Kayla just a little bit past vertical. Gianna, pretty solid dive.
Lainey Gutch and Ella Joyce, same dive, inward 2.5 tuck. Lainey, third place in the D1 NCAA 1 meter final this year. Fantastic achievement for her.
Really pretty inward 2.5 tuck. Ellie just a little bit long, a little past vertical, came out just a touch late. Great dive from Lainey.
And by far, the strongest dive of the round so far, 54.27. A consistent dive.
Consistent. Not the highest degree of difficulty, but worth doing when you can do it well. This is our first blind entry we've seen in an optional round. The back 2.5 tuck. Really nice dive.
There was so much confidence in there.
So much confidence in the kickouts, and they must be spotting well.
Almost touching 60 points now. 59.64 puts them into the temporary lead.
They should be very happy with that round.
Leosona Kindle and Krista, we're coming.
It's our most veteran team. Most experience here. Competing the same dive but in the pike position, so legs straight, higher degree of difficulty. Great dive from Krista, a little bit short of vertical for Kendall, but the synchronization was better.
50.4. Of course, doing a dive in the pike shape makes it physically a lot more difficult.
Slower spin, tougher to get into that nice deep pike.
And right now, Taylor and Haley have jumped 10 points ahead of Krista and Kindle. 2 rounds to go. That battle for the podium just starting now. Lily Witt, Bailey
faults, one twist. Nice dive from both of them. Good synchronization.
I have to commend their consistency, not just in the last 3 dives of this final, but all the way through the preliminaries this morning.
That's right. You just keep landing vertical and you're going to find yourself in medal contention.
And that's our first team in the women's event above the 60-point barrier. Anna Kwong, Sophie Vizail. Back 2.5 pike.
This is the same dive we saw Kendall and Krista do.
And these women are physically so strong. They are pushing the DD limits on 1 meter and 3 meter springboard right now.
Good solid dive from both of them. Enough to move them back into the lead.
But just like yesterday in the women's synchro, very, very close.
Very close.
Just 4 points separating Anna and Sophie from Lily and Bailey. Back to the men's 10 meter event. This is Jackson and Ryden, reverse 2.5 tuck.
Wow, so I think that's the most confident dive we've seen out of them. They kicked strong, nice entries from both of them.
Reverse 2.5 on 10 meters is one of those dives where it's in between being physically easy, but also a very hard to control dive.
It's hard
but when you nail it,
yes.
No feeling like that.
Oh, when you can see your spot and put your feet where you're supposed to put it and line it up right, you can feel the rip underwater.
Of course, those back and reverse dives, really using your eyesight as you rotate to hone in on your spot. And like Kerry says, when you know you're in the right spot and you line up, it's a great feeling. Grant and Evan now, same dive. Let's see what they can do.
Really nice entries from both of them. I thought Evan was jumped just a little bit further out.
A reverse 2.5 party here on the platform.
That's right.
Lots of rips. 59.64, good score for them.
Right there at 60.
But Max and Dash upping the DD to 3.2 now, inward 3.5. We saw Carson and Josh nail it for more than 80 points in round 3.
See if they answer.
Of course, Max and Dash also a fantastic forward 3.5 in the last round. They've been diving very well today.
Nice dive from both of them. Little bit of splash on the bottom for Dash, but very solid inward 3.5.
And they are currently running away with that second place. Anything can happen in diving, but opening up a nice 50+ point lead on third place. And if you want to see some action, watch this very closely. Forward 4.5 somersaults tuck. A massive degree of difficulty of 3.7.
Wow. Wow.
It makes you dizzy just watching it. 86.58 points.
Wow.
And watching that, I think they're capable of scoring 90, even 100 points on this dive.
Absolutely.
A little bit of mistiming on their jump, but
Yeah.
just fantastic individual forward 4.5s there. They're nearly 100 points ahead of second place.
Now I wonder if they know and they're breathing a sigh of relief, or they're just carrying on.
Both of them are gamers. They come into a competition and
wanna
they know what to do.
I love it.
Bianca Hutter, Eve Nelson. Reverse 2.5 tuck.
Little bit of a miss for both of them, a little bit short of vertical for Bianca. Eve had a tough takeoff and she did a great job of keeping that dive going.
And earlier in the preliminaries, Bianca unfortunately lost balance completely in the hurdle, resulting in a failed dive. So to come back from the preliminaries and do that dive and do it confidently.
Way to go, Bianca.
And we had the similar situation in men's springboard yesterday. You learn some tough lessons here as a junior, but no better place to learn it than in a senior comp.
Wow, good dive from both of them. Good synchronization, a little bit rough on the board, but they sure did a great job with that.
And so much camaraderie between these pairs. You can tell when their friendships go a long way, and they actually, in a way, make each other dive better when they're stood next to each other. It really helps them come through as individuals.
Yes, and there's a level of an individual in the sport, and when you get to dive with a friend, some ease.
Another forward 3.5 tuck, Lainey and Ellie.
Wow, beautiful dive from both of them. Great start. Beautiful tucks. Solid entries.
And they're staying very consistent. Still in the mix for a podium. They finish with a 3.0 DD in the final round. So they're definitely not out of it yet when it comes to who's going to land on those top 3 podium spots. Haley Hernandez, Taylor Fox, they did a fantastic back 2.5 in round 3. Similar dive, reverse 2.5 tuck now.
Great starts, very confident on the kick out. They know right where they are in the air.
And just massive improvements from the preliminaries. Both divers very level-headed when it comes to important competitions.
Just maintaining emotional control can be really difficult to do.
And here's a very high DD dive, forward 3.5 piked from Kendall Knight and Krista Palmer.
Much better synchronization on that. Kendall was back from the end of the board, which gives you less push off the board and more difficult to make that rotation.
First time we've seen that dive in piked. Of course, much harder than tuck.
Much harder than tuck.
Especially for 3.5 rotations.
Absolutely. Tremendous amount of strength.
Now, Lily Witt, Bailey Sturgill, they are chasing the leaders. They're fantastic full out in the last round. This is their reverse 2.5 tuck.
Wow, they set it up beautifully, kicked strong, nice finish.
And they are putting the pressure on Anna Kwong and Sophie Verzeil. They are growing into this competition round by round. 63.84, fantastic.
So good.
On a 2.8.
On a 2.8, yes.
8 from synchronization. Well done, Lily and Bailey. Anna Kwong, Sophie Verzeil, forward 3.5 pike. Big moment in this competition.
The synchronization was fantastic. They both missed their hurdles a little bit and still were able to finish it well.
And I could see Anna landed a little bit back from the end of the board, but she was fighting it all the way around.
All the way around.
Sometimes you don't get a fantastic landing, but you can see she held on and did a great dive in the end.
And that's the veteran diving in her. She knows what to do. She's been in that position before.
And we have a nice last round showdown lined up there, as Lily and Bailey are now within 2 points of Anna and Sophie. Coming down to the wire in the women's 3-meter synchro. Jackson and Ryden, their hardest dive of the final so far, in with 3.5 tuck.
Difficult dive. They did a great job. They look great in the air. Little bit of miss off of the platform in their timing. At 15 and 16, though, there's only improvement coming for these two.
And Ryden actually took part in the Junior Pan American Games as a high diver, going from a 15-meter platform.
So he's not even sweating today.
Well, I don't think you can ever not be scared doing 10-meter optionals, no matter how experienced you are.
Always, always a healthy fear of the 10-meter.
Kind of keeps you focused, that fear.
It better.
Puts your brain right where it needs to be in the right moment. Grant Cates, Evan Stingley.
Same dive. Both had fantastic starts. Grant, little bit of over rotation. Their scores are going to reflect that.
And if you watch his takeoff, his head goes down. And same thing at the end. He's just missed his spot a little bit.
Just a little.
And when the head goes down like that and you don't see your entry, that's what causes an over rotation like that.
Yes. If you're in a position of guessing and diving, it's a challenge.
But still more diving to come. You have to wash those dives off. You have
Absolutely.
to
move on to the next round.
put it behind you. There's still work to do. Max and Dash, reverse 2.5 tuck. They did an awesome 305 in the prelim.
Such a confident takeoff and an over rotation from both of them.
And I think that's the adrenaline of a final. They were going all out to score 10s.
Because they crushed it in prelims.
And sometimes you have to balance that in a competition. You have to understand your adrenaline's going to be higher.
Yes.
You're going to have slightly more natural power
Without
in
a doubt.
every movement.
Yeah.
And you have to adjust your dives a little bit.
Yes. You'll see a lot of these divers take a big, deep breath before they start in an effort to bring that adrenaline down.
We've seen a lot of reverse 2.5s off the 10 meter. This is a reverse 3.5 tuck. Big DD 3.4.
Unbelievable dive from Joshua. Great dive from Carson.
I've actually seen Carson do this reverse 3.5 for 9s and 10s. More than I've seen anybody do it, I think.
Wow.
But on that particular dive, it was Josh's.
That was Josh's dive.
Josh, of course, bursting onto the scene with his Olympic trials in 2021. He was only 14.
Wow.
Finishing 4th place. He's been to the World Championship final. Carson was the first US diver since Greg Louganis to qualify for the Olympics in 10 meter and 3 meter at the same games.
So impressive. Moving on to our final round for women.
Eve and Bianca, forward 3.5 somersaults tuck.
Just a little bit past vertical for Bianca and a little bit short for Eve.
And sometimes this happens in diving. You run out of room. You're doing so many somersaults and you just can't quite straighten your body out at the end.
And that is a lot of flips.
And of course, such a young pair, as they progress, as they age, they're probably going to do a lot more weight training.
That's right, stronger.
They're going to get stronger,
better
jump higher.
ability to move the board.
And to an outsider, how much physical training do you have to do to be a national level diver?
A tremendous amount. Individually, both good dives. They missed the board. Their synchronization was off on the takeoff. But a solid start, solid finish for these two.
Such a young pair in the senior competition.
Our youngest at 16 and 17.
I have no doubt that they'll be back.
All of these competitions, just getting this level of experience under your belt will help you.
A lot of forward 2.5 somersault 1 twist in the final rounds.
It's a high degree of difficulty, and it's a landing you see. Great dive for both of them. Good synchronization, just a touch short of vertical. I think we are starting to see a little bit of fatigue from some of these divers.
And this is their 10th competition dive of the day.
And that doesn't include the amount of practice and the warm-ups and the stretching and the being cold and the getting warm again.
Now, this is where it gets interesting. Taylor Fox and Haley Hernandez. They're currently in 3rd place, doing an inward 2.5 with tuck. But this is a lower degree of difficulty than Kendall and Krista, who dive next.
Worth doing if you can do it well. And they did it well. Beautiful dive. 61.
And they have just come into this competition today and been completely consistent all the way through.
All the way through.
Dive for dive, it's been fantastic. Krista and Kendall.
Individually, both can do this dive really well, looking to see if they can time up these new together hurdles.
They're Gonna need a big one.
Individually, both dives were great. Little bit of miss on the synchronization coming off the springboard.
And for Taylor Fox and Haley Hernandez, they're going to guarantee themselves a spot on the podium. They've jumped ahead of Kindle and Krista in the final. Now the shootout for gold. Lily Witt and Bailey Sturgill. Their final dive, back 2.5 somersaults with tuck.
Beautiful dive. They're going to get great synchronization scores and individually really pretty.
And such a massive well done to them. They have dived so well all day. They've scored 66.36 there, which puts the ball in the court of Anna Kwong and Sophie Verzeil. Can they respond?
They can. They have the degree of difficulty to move past them, but they're going to have to do it well.
And they're going to have to score at least 7s. 7.5 range.
Mm-hmm. Have they done it?
This is going to come
It's
down
gonna be
to
close.
margins.
Yes.
All eyes on the scoreboard.
And they did it. No, it's tied.
That is a tie
A
of
tie.
534.12 after 10 dives.
Unbelievable. I've never seen it before. Unbelievable.